Hospitality is just giving people a place to be when they would otherwise be alone. We are gatherers. I always have been. Our house is the parties at our house all the time. And a lot of it was I had so many people in my life that I really loved who I knew if I didn't extend the invitation, they'd be at home alone. And I didn't want that. That doesn't feel right to me. It never has to be extravagant. It never has to be a performance. A lot of times it's like, I want someone to give you a plate of hot food at the end of the week and look you in the eye and tell you I'm glad you're here.
Welcome to the Blackberry Podcast, where we share stories, wisdom, and insight from the amazing people we get to meet and collaborate with at Blackberry Farm. I'm Sarah Chabot.
And I'm Mary Celeste Beall, and I'm so excited that today's guest is Shauna Niequist. She is a celebrated author of so many books, Cold Tangerines, Present Over Perfect. What I love about our guest today is just how authentic and warm and just how unafraid she is to try new things, to make new connections, and to just be present. So welcome, Shauna.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
And Shauna, I know you're working on a book right now, which we're keeping under wraps, but we want to definitely dive into the nuts and bolts of it. But the 7 books that have come before, what is the sort of underlying part through each of them that you sort of dive into self-reflection, or you're meeting other people and you're hearing their stories, that kind of like, what's the spark, I guess, that then drives it into a monumental task of writing a book?
Well, it's interesting to be talking about this here. For many, when you're a writer, people assume that your core value or your core interest, you want to communicate something. You're a creative person. Those things are true. I'm a storyteller, certainly, but the further and further I got into my career and into my life, when I started to have serious conversations with people about like what's really driving this work, it's hospitality. And maybe not the way that we think about it in terms of food and beverage, but it's making space for other people to feel seen and heard.
Oh, yes.
So I'm willing to talk about what's messy or strange or difficult in my life so that you feel less alone when you sit with me. I want the books to keep someone company. I'm never the expert. I'm never the guide. I'm the hand holding out saying like, you're not alone. You're not crazy. We all have this kind of stuff.
You're like a friend within a book.
Absolutely. I really think that. That's what I really aspire to. So it's an act of generosity, an act of hospitality, saying you're not alone. None of us are alone. And I think it's never about my stories. It's about the human story. It's about the things we all share. So I try to pay attention to nature and art and music and beauty and human interaction and emotion. And when we tell those stories, it's all one common story.
Absolutely. And today there's so many people that might be, struggling with their own situation by themselves. And, we talked a little bit earlier about that being a concern of all of us,
we talk about the loneliness epidemic. I think it's very real. I live in a very big, crowded city where a lot of people live alone and they don't have the quality of relationships that they wish they had. We're talking about that a lot with young people right now, that especially kids who are at a specific age during the pandemic miss some fundamental developmental steps. And now it's a little bit more difficult to connect. And of course, I want a lot of human connection in all of our lives. But when I was growing up, books and authors were my friends. I was like a total little bookworm, and I felt a sense of kinship and camaraderie with authors through their stories. And so I think a good story can stand in the way of some of that loneliness.
Is that where you got your start of wanting to be an author, is like being connected to your early days?
Oh, absolutely. My mom was like, a 70s mom who like got some book at the library about like teaching your kid to read really young. And so she did. Oh. And it just opened up the entire world to me. And I used to like, sneak books under the covers and into the bathtub.
Rebel.
Yeah, right. I was pretending to do like my piano scales, and I was really just reading a story. All I ever wanted to do was contribute to that conversation the way that writers had changed my life so much. I just thought it would be what an amazing thing to do that for someone else, what so many authors and storytellers had done for me.
Right. Okay, so that's an interesting, because yesterday you said how you would love to write fiction. And you haven't done that yet.
I have not.
And so but I'm guessing you were drawn as a child to fiction.
And that's most of what I read. I really love reading fiction. I hope to write it someday, but to be honest, the learning curve feels pretty high. Like it's a craft, and like I feel like I'm going to do it very badly at first. And so
Maybe a pen name.
Yeah, there you go. That would make it easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to learn it, but I'm a little bit daunted by the process.
Yeah. But you are such a great storyteller. So I believe in you, Shauna.
Thank you. Thank you. Someday. It's on my someday list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to go back to, walking around in a city with millions of people, but also us being alone, through your experience of telling stories and hosting people in your own house and creating community, what is the first step?
So, I would say, again, my core value in my life, in everything I do, is hospitality. And I think there are several different definitions for that. And one of them, a really simple one, is hospitality is just giving people a place to be when they would otherwise be alone. We are gatherers. I always have been. Our house is the parties at our house all the time. It's even in our tiny apartment, even when we didn't have a dining table, even when we had little babies. And a lot of it was I had so many people in my life that I really loved who I knew if I didn't extend the invitation, they'd be at home alone. And I didn't want that. That doesn't feel right to me. And so it never has to be extravagant. It never has to be a performance. A lot of times it's like, I want someone to give you a plate of hot food at the end of the week and look you in the eye and tell you, I'm glad you're here. And so to me, hospitality is really simple, but it's a meal by meal, hour by hour building of something larger than ourselves.
I've always loved that about you. And especially, I guess it was pandemic-ish when you were posting so much on Instagram of tonight's snack tray, or, you're like, woo, I'm whipping this out of my tiny cabinet in my New York apartment. But I do think that so many people resist having people over because they think it needs to be perfect. They're paralyzed by perfection. And it's really just a matter of opening up a bag of nuts.
It really is.
Have some salsa and chips. And some water, tea. It doesn't have to be extravagant.
The way I try to think about it is when I invite, and of course, sometimes we do fancy things.
Right,
That's really
right.
fun and whatever.
Yeah.
But on a day-to-day basis, I try to think about it. I'm not just inviting you into my home. I'm inviting you into my family. And so how would I feed my family? I would just give them chips and salsa. I would just give them like half a pack of saltines and I would put it on a sheet pan. And so you get to be fed with the same amount of fanfare that my family does, which is not very much, but there's a real intimacy and beauty in that.
Right.
What a sweet thing to feel included in the rhythm of someone's family life.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I also think that it makes someone feel extra at home
Absolutely.
if they're being treated like they belong.
We try not to use the word company or entertaining. We talk about gathering and guests and family because the language that we use matters. And when you talk about entertaining is like tap dancing. It's like performing. It's a thing that we do. And I feel like gathering and practicing hospitality is really different than that.
So I was reading an interview of yours from a couple of years ago, just talking about giving so much. There's so much opportunity and warmth in the heart when you give. But what happens when you get depleted? Like, is there a place that you go to, a reset? What's the protocol when the hospitality is
That's
full?
a great question. And I would say a couple things. So one of the things we did today at the event is in the middle of these two we did like a lot of content, a lot of learning, a lot of ideas. And then right in the middle, I took us all on a walk through the garden. And it's what I call a sense walk. And I made everyone a little note card and it says, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel in your body? What's happening in your emotions on a little note card? And the reason I did that with our group today is because that's something I do almost every day, sometimes twice a day.
Okay.
Being a writer means you live like totally in your head and your fingers, and that's it. And especially on a bad writing day, it's easy to get like just really stuck in my thoughts and getting outside is my quickest reset and reconnecting with my senses. So outside, no AirPods, no phone, even just for 10 minutes. But what do you hear? What do you smell? What's happening on your skin? What do you notice? The world is so alive and so beautiful. And that reset and reconnection to my senses is a really replenishing practice that I can do like even in the middle of Brooklyn, even on just like a regular Tuesday. But then also I would say I'm a water person,
Mm.
and my family has a tiny little cottage in South Haven, Michigan. They've had it most of my life. Both my parents grew up on that same little stretch of beach.
Oh,
And
sweet.
it is the number one, like if you said something terrible has happened or you're, really depleted or whatever, where do you want to be? Where's the place that's like plugging me back into the power source?
Mhm.
It's right there.
Yeah.
And so the more often I can get there, even just for a couple days at a time, it's like plugging me back into the source.
Now you are, you've shared your love of gathering and hospitality. Does everybody in the family like that too?
Not necessarily. I think part of the reason that gathering is so important to me is I grew up in a really quiet house, just my parents and my brother and I. And my mom's very introverted. She's an amazing person, an artist and an activist, but she really wanted our home to be a very quiet home. And I understand why, and I love it. And as soon as I had my own house, I was like, the party's at our house. And now they really appreciate that. When we're together at the lake, the party's always at my house. And so I think we just get things planted inside of us, not necessarily from our family, but sometimes just in the way that we're put together. And my husband is an introvert. And so we've been married for 25 years this year. And literally one of the first things we had to figure out in our marriage was I wanted to have people over about every other day. And he was like, what is happening here? And so we made a rule. I mean, literally, we'd probably been married for 6 months. I can have people over as often as I want, and he can go to bed whenever he wants. And he still does it to this day. We'll be in the middle of dinner and he'll be like, thanks for coming. Good night. He would just absolutely jet. And so I can have a house full and he can retreat whenever he wants to. So that's how it works for us.
That's the rules.
I love that y'all figured that out.
And it worked. We still do it. If you come to my house, you will spend half the evening with my husband, and then he'll be like, see you later.
I love rules like that. My husband, I can drink any bottle in the cellar except for I have to leave one glass so he can taste it when he comes
There
home.
you go. See,
Yeah,
this is how marriage works.
Yeah. I mean, how fun is that for Andy? He's coming home from work and Sarah has had 3 glasses of wine by her.
Hopefully that's with the first.
Who knows? Of course, that's the rule, Sarah.
Right. I'm saying I like boundaries. I like rules, the things that are time tested.
I'm sorry. It's not fair. I took us down that train. Anyway, oh my God. Okay.
So let's get into doing this next book. It is a cookbook.
It's a cookbook.
We have survived 2 cookbooks.
I was thinking about you guys coming here. I was like, I think they know things that I don't yet know.
So where are you in the process?
Tell us about your book.
So, I love being a writer. I love making regular books, and I love cooking, and I love, gathering people. And so I thought, like, this is natural. This is a yes, we can do this. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And also the learning curve is a lot higher than I thought it was going to be, mostly in terms of the amount of details. So like I'm used to editing a regular book, but that's like literally just grammar and punctuation. Now it's like tablespoons, teaspoons. Is it vegan? Can it be like the amount of details is so many. And I've never had to think about interior design. I've never had to think about page layout. How many ingredients, how many instructions, how long the head note is. And because I'm, a storyteller, I want to like pack in all of these stories, and I'm having to think about how each one fits on the page. I've never had to do that before. And so every time I meet with my editor, my brain sort of like breaks another couple. I'm like, oh gosh. And she is so thorough and she's so smart and she's so great. But I find myself like talking to her out loud as I'm editing because she catches everything. She just flags every single thing. She's like, can you freeze it? Can you have it? Can you? And I'm like, yes, Doris, you can freeze it. I don't know. But like, there's so many details. Like I get a little overwhelmed, but we're right at the end.
Oh, good.
I'm so excited about it. So right now you're catching me in just like all the little details, but the photographs were so fun to do. And it's felt really like creative and collaborative. So mostly it's been amazing.
Did you shoot it in your place in New York or in a studio?
In a studio.
Okay.
My apartment in New York is tiny and really dark.
Mhm.
And they kind of, they give you that option. But we had also just moved in.
Mhm.
Like I had no
Right.
sentimental
Yeah.
attachment to it
Right.
yet. I barely knew where
Yeah.
anything was in the cabinets. It wasn't like my,
Right.
family's home for 20 years or something.
Right.
So they did a beautiful studio in Williamsburg, tons of natural
Oh,
light.
perfect.
And it
Yeah.
made it a lot easier.
Well, also, you really have to have a ton of space because you've got to prepare the dishes and then you have to have the photogenic area to shoot the dish.
Absolutely.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
and all the camera equipment and everything. So
Oh
you
yeah,
need
they
a lot
like
of
kind of
space.
played that all
Yeah.
out for me. And I was like, oh no, please don't come over.
Right.
Please let me just come to your beautiful,
Yeah.
well-lit big space and then go home at night.
Yeah.
And not to give too many details away, but was it just food shots or did you have tablescapes in there and
We have
people?
a handful of like lifestyle shots. It
Mhm.
was really important. So the focus of the cookbook is food for gathering.
Mhm.
So it's like I really want people to feel like having people over for dinner is not a big deal. Like
Yeah.
having people for happy hour, like having people for Easter, whatever. This is really doable. And so all the recipes are scaled for a crowd. They're kid friendly, they're crowd friendly. There are a lot of things that you can make ahead. So like everything about it is how can I help you have people over more easily and get over whatever kind of fear you have about it. And so it was really important to me that it's not just overhead food, like I want to see people's hands. I want to
Right.
see us raising glasses. I want to see like a busy, messy table with like little kid hands in it. So we did a couple full table shots. And so it was like this really big, long table. It's all my friends. And they're like, this looks just like your house.
Oh, good.
Except there's a photographer standing on the table in his
Right.
socks, like looking down at us.
Yeah.
It was really a fun process.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
So I just need, because we have access to so much, big stores, groceries, big cars, all the
Yes.
things. Just give us a little sneak peek into if you were gathering 8 people for dinner. Just give me a little, how does that work in your new life in New York? Well, not new,
Yeah.
your life in New York.
So, like right off the bat, if I was doing 8 people, like let's say it's getting a little springy right now, but like my winter go-to would be, I call it kind of low-key big pot. So there's a big pot of something on the stove, like I do like a creamy sausage and white bean soup with kale. So I'd have that on the stove already in the Dutch oven. And then I'd have a big green salad made, maybe with like shallots and an apple cider vinaigrette. Lots of fresh warm bread. And then on the coffee table, I would have just a couple little snacks, like maybe bacon wrapped dates, maybe pimento cheese, maybe like a little just like fruit and nut kind of platter. And then I'd have like big warm cookies for dessert. And we probably wouldn't sit at the table because 8 isn't really going to fit at our table. So it'd be very like, come in, have a seat. There's soup ready whenever. It's on the stove, so it doesn't take extra space because I don't have a ton of counter space. It's already prepared. It's gluten-free because my husband eats gluten-free, so I always want to make sure that's an option. So I tend to do, and one of the things I talk about in the cookbook is sort of like repertoire cooking. Nobody minds if you serve the same thing, like let's say twice in one season. They're not like, I've had this soup before.
No.
They're like, I like your soup.
Right.
I feel like a regular in your kitchen when I'm having the same soup that I've had before.
Yeah.
So I do like a 1-pot hot thing, salad, bread, some kind of warm dessert, a couple little snacks.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I really love a visual. Are you going to the store in a taxi? Are you taking a little cart? How's all this working?
Okay, so this is a great question. Basically, especially if I'm having a big party, I feel like we just did this. We just had a big party, and it's like the several days beforehand. I keep a list with me, and I always have my tote bags with me all the time. And everywhere I go, I just pick up like 4 or 5 more things. So I have a whole map of my whole neighborhood. So I'm going to go to Brooklyn Fair because they have the mortadella that I like. Then I'm going to go to the bodega because they have the flowers that I like. And then Trader Joe's has those little Parmesan puffs that I like. And over the course of a couple days, every time I go outside, like for my little sense walk, I'll pick up 3 more things because you can't do the just like get everything at one time.
Yeah.
Like when we're at the lake, I have like a car,
Right.
and I just go to like the big grocery
Yes.
store and I get one of everything. I feel like
Yes.
it's like such a luxury. But when I'm in the city, it's literally like 3 things from every little neighborhood shop 3 days in a row.
I had to ask because I'm very much I'm having 20 people over tomorrow or today, and I am going to take my giant cart through the store and be like a mad woman.
Yeah.
And probably buy too much stuff because live 45 minutes from the store. I'm like, I got to get it while I can.
And that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
That's how I used to
Yeah.
live. That's what I do at the lake.
Yeah.
But in the city, it's very
Yeah.
much like my workout is just bringing home like
Right.
2 little totes every time I leave the
Right.
house. Yeah.
But
I
having
love
a
it.
plan ahead of time and
Yeah.
having
Mhm.
go-tos, then you
Yeah.
already feel really comfortable about where you're going to get the flowers from the bodega or what have you.
It's absolutely right. And we live in a neighborhood that has tons of little specialty shops,
Oh,
great butcher, great bakers, all that
Nice.
stuff. And so I feel like very,
Yeah.
I'm like in my own little movie, like here I go to the butcher where I know my guy and he does my sausages. And then I
Yeah.
like this little bakery that does this thing on Tuesdays. It's very sweet.
I
yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm super jealous.
I know. Seriously.
Okay, so you have the go-to of like if you're gonna, use your space, what's the next move? Like if you're going all out, like what's your example there?
If I'm going all out, I would say in this season, I don't do that as often as I used to.
Okay.
But so one of the things that we love about our new apartment is it has fireplace, which is pretty
Oh,
rare in the
That's
city.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we do cute snacks around the fire sometimes.
Oh,
And
love
so
it.
that's like, it's about like this size and we can fit about 6 people and then the fireplace is right there. And that's when I have a lot of your McQueen pottery
Uh-huh.
and I have like the little cake stand. And so
Aw.
I try to do really cute little arrangements of little bites of things. Nobody needs a full meal. I love sparkling wine more than anything in the world. So any kind of champagne or sparkling wine with like little bows on the flutes.
Mhm.
And then just like little yummy fancy things all on different levels
Mhm.
on the coffee table.
I love that because, we make sheep's milk cheese here and some cow's milk also, even though the cows aren't here, but the sheep are. So many times I'll be somewhere or even at my own house and we'll have this great spread before dinner. And everyone's like, this could be my dinner.
Hmm.
And I kind of think it could be. I could sit and just enjoy those yummy snacks as a meal.
And we do that a lot. And especially in the city, we have found that like happy hour or wine and cheese is a really great way to do things. Lots of people have dinner reservations
Mhm.
or they have show tickets,
Mhm.
or if they have little kids, they need to go do like bath time, bedtime.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But from like 5 to 7, a lot of people can do a 5 to
Mhm.
7 before they go on to their next
Mhm.
thing.
And your husband can go to bed.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Yes. And you make hey, come over for a glass of wine in front of the fire.
Mhm.
And from 5 to 7.
Mhm.
And then no one's expecting a full dinner. You
Right.
just do like beautiful tiny little
Yeah.
snacks, whatever looks good at the farmer's market, just giving people just a taste. The point is to be together, to tell a couple stories, again, to look someone in the eye so someone knows where they are in the
Mhm.
course of a week, someone asks them a good question. So a lot of the gathering we do is more like snacks and happy hour than the full meal.
That's so smart.
I was listening to this interview from Ina Garten where she like the sort of French way of extending the evening
Mhm.
is moving from that fireplace spot to the dinner spot and then moving back to like have a nightcap or something. Do you ever like say we're going to take this longer?
We absolutely do. And my husband is the reason for this. When we're at the dinner table, like the second the last person puts down their fork, he says, soft chairs. He wants to go back to the living room. He doesn't want to stay I want to stay at the table all night long.
Me
I want to
too.
like just
Yes.
stay and
Mhm.
stay and open more wine and whatever. The second we're done eating, he wants to go back to the living room. So we do the soft chairs. So, and I love like an Amaro or a nightcap kind of thing. So I like having like one fancy bottle
Mhm.
of a nightcap, like with dessert stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice way to end the evening.
I also love the idea of inviting people for snacks and then just having a soup just on the stove
Mhm.
so that you can, as people maybe wander out and some do dinner or whatever, then you could be like, hey, do you want to stay for dinner? We have plenty of soup. And then it's a little double date.
Absolutely. That's right. And I'm part of the reason I like to cook is I just like the process. So a lot of times, like if I'm a little out of sorts, or especially if I've been out of town, if I've been out of town, the best way for me to get like regrounded into my real life is to cook.
Mhm.
So I'll make a big curry or a big soup or a big lasagna, and then I'll freeze it. And then if people come over, like someone will stop over for coffee, and I'll be like, it's almost lunchtime. I've got soup. I've got lasagna. I've got. So to have something in the freezer all the time, just kind of ready, means you can extend those things if you want to. You can do fun last minute stuff, which I love to do.
Okay, so since you grew up in kind of a quiet house, when did this hospitality piece of you emerge? Was it when you went to college?
I think it was. Yeah. And even before that, I threw a lot of parties at our house. I was the one always saying like, but can the Super Bowl be at our house? Can the holiday be at our house? And then when Aaron and I got married, it was really important to both of us. We were kind of on the younger side for our friend group getting married. And we were like, guys, the party's at our house, and that's always been true, whether we were in Chicago or Grand Rapids or in New York. That's just how I always want to live. And you don't have to have a big apartment. You don't have to have fancy stuff. You just have to be the one that's willing to make the invitation. People love being invited. They love feeling included in your life. And so I'm always willing to be the first one to invite.
I also love the idea of, and especially in New York, you have so much good takeout, is just having people over and having takeout and using real china.
Absolutely. And you're exactly right. Sometimes we're like, we have world-class food on every corner. Let's just have everybody bring their favorite this or their favorite that, or
Oh,
get
that's
your
fun.
favorite thing
Yeah.
from this bakery. So we love to do
That's
that.
super fun. Because I do think there's also that piece of not only do people feel intimidated about cooking, but they also kind of are like, I don't want to have people over. My house doesn't look perfect or whatever. And I just hate that.
I always tell people I do literally a 5-minute clean. Like your bathroom shouldn't be super gross, just like some wipes, no big deal. People shouldn't trip over anything. There shouldn't be something on the couch that they could sit on. Like that's really about it. Nobody's looking at your baseboards. Nobody cares about, no one's going to your bedroom. Like who cares, right?
Yeah.
As long as it's not like, and I've, boys, right? So as long as it's not like actively gross, it's fine. 5 solid minutes, it's fine. And once you get more comfortable with that, the people around you get more comfortable with it. If you set the standard that if you only need like 6 hours notice and I'm going to be like full makeup and everything's going to be formal, then that's kind of the standard you're setting for your friends. And I always want to do the opposite. I always want to be like, come on in, let's keep this easy. I'll do it if you do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, then I might be setting a good standard because there are a lot of times when I am standing in the kitchen in my exercise clothes and I tell my kids or whoever is already there, I'm like, okay, everyone, someone needs to listen for the door. I am going to get dressed right now. I think that they're walking to the door. And I'm like, y'all can handle the first 10 minutes. I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Absolutely, yes. But again, if the alternative is you don't do it,
Right.
that's what a loss
Yeah.
for you, for your kids, for everybody.
Yeah.
So if sometimes it's like a little bit of a hustle up the stairs right at the last minute, people are so happy to be connected. It's so worth it.
I agree. I just love having people at home. I
Mhm.
truly do. At my table, though. And we do move to the living room. We move to the soft seating, but I love being at the table. I think it's because I've worked on whether it's the food or the flowers or the setting the table, or I've just had a busy week that I like to just sit and just be, and everyone can see each other. We have an oval table. So, and it just, I love it. I really do.
Okay, I'm gonna sort of throw you in maybe a different direction here. With all your love of hospitality and the amount of times that you've invited people into your home, what is it like when you're going over to somebody else's house and you see something like? Do you ever like feel like I've got to step into hostess mode, or can you really kind of pull yourself back?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things I work really hard at is being a really good guest, and that means following their lead. So I walk right in. This is beautiful. This looks great. Thank you so much. And I try to be like a non-anxious presence. If the host is like really behind, really wants help, I'm so happy to help. That's what I'd rather do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't jump in unless I know them well enough to offer, and I really want to be part of hospitality is being a good guest. And
Yeah.
so I try to be just really, and it's sometimes when you're the hospitality person, people feel a little bit intimidated having you over.
Right.
And so sometimes people will be like, oh, I don't want to cook for you. I don't know how to cook. I don't. And so I love being like, wow, this is delicious. Where did you get this recipe? Kind of fussing over them a little bit to show them like, I see the effort that goes into this and I really love it.
Because you're just as grateful to be invited and to have a
Absolutely.
warm meal.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're here at Blackberry being a host of sorts, for this group of guests that are going through spring reset. What is it like to kind of almost take to be officially in the host role, but in a different place where you don't know where the knives are stored or what have you.
Well, she knows her way around Blackberry.
True.
So we've been joking about it. One of the ways I see myself as a host in these events is I really want people to experience every single corner of Blackberry. I want them to go hiking. I want them to buy a piece of pottery. I want them to have a Blackberry bumpkin. I want them to, I had a whole list of things. And every time, like, I think sometimes at these events, people want to ask me maybe deep questions about the content. And I'm like, have you taken a bath yet? Because the bath salts are excellent. I'm really excited about this place and what you all have created. And I don't want people to just come to Bramble Hall and sit in their chair and take notes. I want them out on a trail, and I want them to go to Yellerhammer, and I want them to see I want to sit in the rocking chair, and I want them to get the full Blackberry experience.
Because that's like a 3-day census walk.
Yes, it absolutely is. Yeah.
I really feel like I need to take notes from Shauna, because those are all my wishes for people too. But I feel like I can't tell them to do all that, but I guess I can. I'm doing it.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't want to burden people with more things to do, because I feel like we inundate people with a lot of information about Blackberry. And so I don't want to give them a checklist, but I really kind of do now.
Oh, I feel like I basically gave them a checklist today. Has anyone done their bath salts yet? What are we doing?
I do, because I do say, the one thing that I say to everyone, I don't say you should sit in a rocker, and that is a good one. That's obvious to me.
Maybe we need a simple list for the magazine or something from friends like Shauna.
Yeah. But I do always say, please,
we've already signed
take
you up
time.
now.
Please. Yes, she's in. But I do always say, please get in the woods, even if it's for 20 minutes or 10 minutes. I think that's a must do.
Absolutely. And I think, again, in the same way that when someone's in your home, you kind of orient them to where they are. You just, here's where the bathroom is. Here's where you can put your shoes. Here's where you can put your coat. To give people a vision beyond their room and the meals.
Right.
Get out there. I love telling those stories. We joked about it. I've elected myself. I've deputized myself. I'm giving people big checklists for what I think they should do while they're here. You got to see the lambs. You got to see the puppies. I'm into all of it.
And people saw 2 baby lambs being born they were on the way on yesterday morning.
Oh, wow.
They were a little bit late, and I was kind of like, oh, where's everybody? And this group literally saw 2 lambs just popping out of their
life
mama
on the farm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
real
so
life.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Very special.
Well, Shauna, thank you so much for being here. I feel like there's 1,000 recipes that are to come. We can't wait for your book to come out next year, right?
Yeah, next May.
Next May.
Oh,
okay, fantastic.
Just a whole year.
It takes.
It does take a long
forever.
time.
Because there's recipe testing and
Yes,
are you recipe testing at home or?
That's all done. I work with a wonderful recipe tester in Berkeley, California. We did it all back and forth.
Oh, fun.
So all of that is done. But even once our hands are totally off of it, they need a year for printing.
Yeah.
So I'll have it all turned in by May 1st, and I'll be out next year.
So, sorry, I have to ask, because I feel like I've seen this through your Instagram life of wrapped a book and now I'm gonna chill out. What's your dream for this summer? To go to Michigan and hang out on the water?
Yes, definitely yes. But also I'm this spring I'm leading a tour. I've never done this before. I'm leading a food and culture tour in Sicily. Which is so fun. I went on this tour a couple years ago. My mom came to me. This is so sweet. She's traveled all over the world. She's done tons of amazing work. And she came to me and said, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but the one remaining thing on my bucket list is a mother-daughter international trip. And I don't care where we go. I was like, what? I can't. Yes. The answer is yes. And so there's a mother and daughter in Italy who do food tours. But mostly it's just the mother or the daughter. And I was like, I want one with both of them, with both of us. So we went to Sicily 2 years ago. We had the best time. And you go to a cheesemaker and an almond farm and where they harvest the sea salt. I mean, just the coolest stuff. And then the tour company was like, we always need guides. Would you do one? And I was like, absolutely, yes. So I'm going to do that this spring, which would be really fun.
Go, Shauna.
Yeah.
I mean, you're full of surprises.
Add that to the bio.
Right?
Yes.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
That is so cool. Well, congratulations on this new book.
Thank you.
And thank you again for being here with our guests and for being here today and sharing your incredible wisdom and insights with our listeners. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's always my pleasure.
And just so that we make sure everybody knows where to find you.
And I have a Substack that I love. That's my favorite thing. It's called Reading and Eating, and it's just Shauna Niequist at Substack. So it's a lot of recipes, a lot of stories. That's my favorite thing right now in terms of like social media and websites.
Great.
So
Thank you. We'll put it all in the show notes. Make sure everybody has it.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna.